Why didn't you buy anything? You're useless. You really are bad at anything. When I came back empty-handed after being told by my sister to buy baby supplies, she yelled at me the moment she saw me. I looked at several places, but there were so many options, I couldn't decide. I thought it would be best for the parents, Emily and Tom, to go choose them. Shut up. If I say it's fine, then it's fine. As long as it's the most expensive, anything will do. Isn't that a bit irresponsible? I don't mind buying anything as a gift, but throwing everything on me isn't right. I got more and more frustrated with my sister's attitude, which seemed not to take her child's needs seriously. Don't lecture me, you who still live at home without getting married. Parasites are bad for prenatal education. Stop stressing a pregnant woman out. I was beyond angry at my sister's condescending attitude and was more exasperated than anything else. I started thinking that maybe I should just move out of my parents' house. My name is Mary. I'm known for being serious and currently work as a tax accountant. I've always hated dishonesty. That's why I've never been able to pretend or go along with others just to keep the peace. Fortunately, my current workplace is full of good people who accept my personality. I've been working independently for several years now and am enjoying my life. However, sometimes something crosses my mind. My parents fought. I went to college while living at home and have never moved out. Now, over 30 years old, I'm still single and living with my parents. I know my parents are hoping for a match, but there isn't anyone in my life, and I don't have many opportunities to meet new people. Even though I understand I can't meet their expectations, it sometimes makes me feel down. On the other hand, my sister Emily has never been without a boyfriend since her school days. Unlike me, she doesn't shy away from interacting with people and is good at charming them. Emily was always good at getting people on her side, and she was always surrounded by others. In a negative light, you could say she was sly. She was clever and had no problem lying to suit her needs, using her smooth talking skills to get her way. When she decided to go to a vocational school after high school and wanted to live alone, Emily, who never helped around the house and left everything to our mom, faced opposition from both me and our mom. But she won over our dad and eventually got her way. After graduating from vocational school, she got a job as a medical office assistant but quit after 6 months. Since then, she's bounced from job to job, always managing to satisfy our parents somehow. Even though our mom thought Emily should be more responsible, our dad found her endearing because she still depended on him as an adult. But Emily was merciless towards me. She probably thought I wasn't worth sucking up to. She had always looked down on me when our parents weren't around. "You're so inefficient. All you're good for is studying." I've heard those remarks countless times. She was indeed more efficient. I could only admit that the only thing I had over her was good grades. But even them, according to her, if I tried just a bit, I'd easily surpass you. She claimed she could have gone to a better college and gotten a better job than me if she had tried. It was disheartening to be disliked by my own sister, but there's nothing I can do about it now. Even if I don't see her as an enemy, she does, so it's better not to engage. Besides, even if she thinks I'm only good at studying, it got me my current job, and that's enough for me. Since Emily doesn't come home often, I thought I could just endure her occasional visits. But one day, my peaceful life was suddenly shattered. Emily came back home. Next to her, she had a man she said was her fiancé. The man, Tom, was dressed in a t-shirt and shorts, even though it was his first time meeting our family. Judging people by their appearance isn't good, but my first impression of him was terrible. I found out I was pregnant recently, so we decided to get married. But since it's my first pregnancy, I'm anxious. After talking with Tom, we decided that I should come home to give birth. So I'll be living here from today. Suddenly, she announced her pregnancy and marriage. On top of that, she announced she would be moving back home, and neither my parents nor I could hide our shock. "I've moved your stuff and said hello to them, so I'm heading back." Ignoring us in shock, Tom said so and left quickly. After my sister was left alone, my mom finally spoke. "We can live as a family of 4 again, like the old days." Despite looking slightly anxious, my mom smiled happily. Following my mom, my dad cheerfully asked questions. "When's the due date? Is it a boy or a girl?" When Emily answered my dad's questions, it sank in that she was really pregnant. My parents started showing their joy at the prospect of their first grandchild. It seemed like my sister's return was smoothly accepted, and I couldn't say anything. "Mary, help me take my stuff to my room." I was startled out of my stupor by Emily's voice. Sure. I'm not supposed to carry heavy things while I'm pregnant, so you carry everything, okay?" Just as she said, I carried all the luggage from the front door up to my sister's room on the second floor. But as soon as I finished, Emily started complaining. "I want to sleep in a bed." "You can't expect a pregnant woman to sleep on the floor, right?" "But there was never a bed in your room, Emily. You sleep in a bed, don't you? Bring your bed over here. You can sleep on the floor or the couch in the living room." "What? Surely you're not telling a pregnant woman to sleep on the couch, right? You should listen to me since I might be the only one giving mom and dad grandchildren." Emily crossed her arms, looking triumphant. "Once she gets like this, there's no way to stop her for me." Knowing Emily wouldn't give up until she got her way, I reluctantly agreed to give her my bed. Back in the days of studying for exams or when I was a fresh tax accountant, I often slept on the couch after late-night study sessions. It wouldn't be too hard, and I thought it was better to just give in quickly. But maybe that wasn't the right decision. Emily started to think that just saying she was pregnant would make me do whatever she wanted. She began demanding even more, using her pregnancy to justify her whims. It got worse by the day. She asked me to buy things on my way home from work almost daily. On weekends, I had to drive her around. It must have been too much for my mom to ignore. One day, she asked me with a worried look, "Mary, are you okay? Emily seems to be asking a lot to you." "I'm fine, Mom. I've never been pregnant, so I don't know how it feels, but I've heard that pregnancy comes with many inconveniences and anxieties. So, I think it's only natural to put up with some of her whims." My mom's expression was a mix of a smile and concern. She simply said, "Thank you." Mom might think I'm just putting up with it, but there was no lie in what I told her. I don't know when I'll be able to give my parents grandchildren. Maybe never. Thinking about my parents, I decided it was better to follow Emily's demands and keep the peace while she was home. But despite my resolve, the day came when I couldn't help but push back against Emily's demands. It was Friday, late at night, and everyone had retreated to their rooms to sleep. Without knocking, my sister barges into my room. She hands me a note and says, "Buy these tomorrow." The note lists out baby clothes, bottles, diapers, and all sorts of baby supplies in great detail. I had been trying my best not to talk back to her, but I couldn't help but speak up when I saw that shopping list. I've never chosen baby supplies before, and I don't know anything about them. Wouldn't it be better for you and your husband to pick these out together? Shut up. Just get everything on the list, come on. The note even included big items like a stroller and a crib, everything a newborn might need. Get the best ones. And of course, you're paying for it. You can cover it as part of your gift, right? As part of the gift. How much do you think I should spend on this? Buying everything on this list, and the best ones. You don't even have a boyfriend at 30, so don't argue with a pregnant woman. You can't even give mom and dad grandkids, so the least you can do is to pay. Even though it was late at night, my sister raised her voice. Emily is always like this. She can't stand not being superior to me, and she'll insult me or get our parents involved to get her way. It's probably best to just agree quickly and keep the peace before this gets more complicated. Sensing she was about to explode, I hurriedly said, "Okay," and promised to go shopping as she asked. But once I got to the store, there were so many choices, and I, without any knowledge, had no idea what is good. Even the most expensive items came in several varieties, and I didn't think it was right for me, someone who isn't the parent, to make these choices. It should really be Emily and her husband who pick these out. In the end, I came home empty-handed. But of course, my sister wasn't going to let that slide. As soon as she saw me, she yelled, "Why didn't you buy anything? You're useless. You really are bad at everything." I went to several stores, but there were too many options, and I couldn't decide. "I think you and Tom should pick these out as the parents." "Shut up. If I say it's fine, then it's fine. As long as it's the most expensive, anything will do." Isn't that a bit irresponsible? I don't mind buying anything as a gift, but throwing everything on me isn't right. I got more and more frustrated with my sister, who seemed not to take her child's needs seriously. You really don't have any consideration, do you? Mom must be so disappointed. Emily tried to get my mom to side with her against me. But before my mom could respond, Emily glared at me. You've been living at home without getting married, so don't lecture me. Having a parasite around is bad for the baby. Stop stressing me out. Her condescending attitude made me more exasperated than angry. I started thinking it might be better if I just moved out. Enough already. Suddenly, I heard my mom's angry voice for the first time ever. My usually gentle mom had never raised her voice like that before. That mom shouted. Both Emily and I froze. While we stood there speechless, our mom glared at us furiously. The tense atmosphere got to Emily first. It's all Mary's fault. It's terrible that she made you angry, Mom. If she just listened to me, this wouldn't have happened. Emily criticized me as if I were to blame for everything. Then, she tried to gauge our mom's reaction. Mom, are you okay? I'm sorry. You didn't want to see your daughters fighting. If only Mary were more capable, this wouldn't have happened. Emily tried to play the victim and make me look bad. She probably expected our mom to side with her. But Mom, with her face still red, didn't say a word and sided with neither of us. Emily's expression started to show panic as her plan backfired. She nervously tried to placate our mom. Why don't we just have Mary move out? She's not helpful, and it would be more comfortable for the three of us to live together, right? Even with this suggestion from Emily, my mom's expression didn't change. Despite the tense situation, my sister continued to force a smile and try to smooth things over. Maybe I should stay here after the baby is born. That way, you can always be with your grandchild. I'll talk to Tom about it, so let's have Mary move out and we'll live together. Emily sounded almost cheerful, as if this was a brilliant idea. Come on, let's do it. But my mom's gaze grew even sharper as she said in a low voice, No, thank you. What? Mom, I was happy when Emily came back. I thought we could live together as a family of 4 again, just like before. Then why are you saying no? If you're happy, you wouldn't say that. I don't want to live with a daughter who calls her family a parasite. What? Emily was at a loss for words, completely stunned by our mom's unexpected response. Ignoring Emily's shock, my mom continued to scold her. Who is the real parasite here? You laze around every day, doing nothing to help. You make all these demands on Mary. Isn't that true? But I'm pregnant. Every pregnancy is different, and Mary understood that, so she kept quiet until now. But I've had enough. No matter how hard it is physically, don't you know there are things you shouldn't say? But, no bits. Emily's eyes were filled with tears as Mom's voice grew even louder. Mom took a deep breath and continued in a more gentle tone. Emily, you may think Mary is inconsiderate because she doesn't read the room like you do. But that's because Mary is strong and refuses to compromise her beliefs. I don't care. That kind of personality will only make people dislike her. That's not true. In fact, her colleagues at work appreciate her for not being a sycophant. That can't be. Mary is needed in her job as a tax accountant, and she also contributes financially to the household. And what about you, Emily? You can't hold down a steady job, and you keep coming back to ask Dad for money. You knew. Of course, I knew. Your dad found you endearing and couldn't refuse when you said you were in trouble. Emily, shocked to find out that Mom knew about her secret, could only stand there speechless. Mom continued without paying any attention to Emily's distress. I hoped becoming a mother would make you grow up, but instead, you've just become more demanding, using your pregnancy as an excuse. That's not true. I can't stand by and watch anymore. Get out of this house right now, and don't come back. Emily began to cry as Mom's final words struck her. Even then, Mom's expression remained unchanged. Realizing that Mom wasn't going to take her side, she turned pale. Then, Emily turned to me for help. Mary, please, talk to Mom. If Mom doesn't change her mind, I'll be kicked out. Emily looked at me with pleading eyes, but I had already made up my mind. Maybe it's best if you just leave quietly. What? You don't like me anyway, right? You called me a parasite. There's no benefit in us being together. Don't say that. I just went a little overboard. Pregnancy makes me more irritable than usual. That's why I said those things. Emily still tried to use her pregnancy as an excuse. Both Mom and I gave her cold looks. You've been mocking me long before you were pregnant, calling me inefficient and only good at studying. If you're going to blame it on pregnancy, you should apologize to other pregnant women. What? Are you saying it's my fault? Emily always starts shouting, "Are you saying it's my fault?" whenever she finds herself in a bad situation. Even as an adult, my sister's immaturity never ceases to amaze me. That's right. I've been trying to keep the peace in the family, but it seems there's no need for that anymore. So, I'm done. Don't bother me anymore. So, Mom and Mary are just going to make me the bad guy, huh? Fine. I'll leave this house on my own. Expecting to get her way as she always had, Emily spewed a nasty parting shot and stormed out of the house. Even after leaving with such a bitter statement, Emily quickly tried to rely on Dad. But by then, Mom had already told him what happened, and Dad, who could no longer simply think she was endearing, advised her sternly, "You're married now, so it's time you both to manage your household on your own." Emily reportedly responded with more harsh words and abruptly hung up the phone. She went back to Tom, but he had no sense of responsibility as a father, and most of his part-time earnings went into gambling. With no savings, Emily faced childbirth without proper preparations. But her struggles were just beginning. Even after their baby was born, Tom's behavior didn't change, and Emily had to return to work almost immediately. Tom did nothing to help with housework or childcare, and his gambling habit persisted. Emily, unable to leave due to lack of money, found herself in daily fights with him. As for me, my parents apologized for everything that happened. But this was really Emily's issue, not something my mom or dad should apologize for. I told them this and continued our relationship as it had been. A few months later, with peace restored in my daily life, a major life event occurred. A senior colleague confessed his feelings for me. The fact that someone loved me just the way I am, and the possibility that I might finally give my parents grandchildren, made my heart soar with joy. From now on, I will keep living honestly and sincerely, just as I always have.